Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today on this episode of Her Version. This podcast is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Michelle Wax. Michelle is a dating coach that helps you build confidence to attract the one and create a great relationship that lasts. Michelle has been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, Well and Good, and Fast Company, and is a four-time entrepreneur that ties in mindset, science, and psychology into her Be the One method to attract your partner with more ease and more joy. She has interviewed hundreds of people across 50 states on how they create more joy and fulfillment in their own lives. And it all comes back to one thing: relationships, the relationships with others, and most importantly, with yourself. Michelle will be sharing her journey through her own life and how she came to love the industry she is in. Welcome, Michelle. What would you recommend as far as people that are single right now and looking to mingle? Would you recommend them to just dive in to dating, or would you recommend them to work on themselves first, or do both at the same time? What's your advice?
I personally always recommend doing both at the same time, because a lot of the time, especially if we want that relationship, we want that person, it can be kind of frustrating if we're just sitting here like doing our own personal development, right? That's just how my mind works. But yeah, I think the first step is getting really clear on what type of relationship you want, right? And not taking into consideration what you should have, right? What your parents want for you, what your brother wants, what your friends say, what do you truly want? Like, how do you want to be feeling in that? Who do you want that person to be, right? What do you want to be experiencing? And then once you're clear on that, then you can start to incorporate that into that dating profile, right? Into, if you do meet someone out in the world, right? Kind of like filtering it through that. But I think it is a balance of working on yourself, because no one's ever going to be perfect, right? Everyone's a human being. So I don't recommend just waiting because you feel like you're not ready. Because everyone has their own things going on. No one's going to be perfect, right? So you can work with someone to grow together.
Absolutely. Definitely. Do you go over, is there like a I don't know, for some reason while you were talking, money popped into my mind. I don't know why. But is there, I think when you said, what do you want? So right away I was like, some women want to be going out to dinner 5 to 6 times a month. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of the angle that you're going on with that? Or what are you talking about? Like, I like to cuddle on the couch, or what's your...
Yeah. So what do you want in the relationship that you're craving? So that could be, of course, things like physical appearance, but more importantly, how do you want to be feeling, right? What's that experience? Are you feeling on edge and anxious around this person? You probably don't want to be feeling that, right? Are you feeling calm, supported, loved, things like that? Getting clear on those emotions, as well as like, how are they around your family? How are they around your friends, right? Getting really crystal clear on that first. And then when you start to go on dates with people, instead of getting like sucked into someone who just really likes you, right? Then you can be like, okay, but do I like them? Are they aligned? If they don't have to match with everything, right? A lot of the times you can grow together in certain areas, right? They don't have to match every single thing on the list. But are they giving you more of those emotions you want to be experiencing? Or are you just kind of getting swept up into their energy of they really like you, so you're just going to kind of flow with it?
That happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens. And then there's the whole guilt of like the breakup. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're like nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember years ago, I was dating someone, and I I was out to lunch with my dad or something, and he was like, yeah, so how's it going with so-and-so? And I was like, he's really nice. I just kept repeating, like, he's really nice, but blah, blah, blah. He's really nice. And my dad looks at me and just goes, Michelle, a lot of people are nice.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't mean this is the person for you.
Yeah.
But you can insert nice with, like, he's really tall, right? Like, that's a big factor. Like, he's really, I don't know, kind or whatever else. But if you're missing a lot of the other things you're craving, then it's probably not the right person for you. And I think that's okay. I think a lot of the times too, when I'm chatting with people, they feel like if they don't connect with someone on a date, or maybe they do have a couple dates and it fizzles, that it's the end of the world, and they feel bad about it, or they take it personally. And it's like, not everyone's going to be for you, right? You can't connect deeply and have that relationship with everyone. That's okay. It could just be a moment in time or experience for you to learn something, or to just have a good time, just have a good, fun night or whatever it is.
Exactly. Definitely. What do you think are like the first few steps that you've taken towards bettering your life?
Yeah. So I've noticed a pattern in myself that I start to feel this inner frustration and this has happened multiple times. It's kind of like a circular thing or a cyclical thing where, humans are meant to grow, right? So I'll reach a point where I'm like, okay, I want it to be here. Okay, now I'm feeling antsy, I'm feeling frustrated. So I think that's the first thing, is noticing what's your kind of default state. Is it frustrated? Is it stressed? Is it something else that urges you to make a change? And then from there, I'm big into self-awareness. So I'm like, okay, Michelle, what's going on here? What's currently frustrating you, right? What can you start to shift? And then taking aligned action that is small at first, but it's getting you closer and closer each day to who you want to be being, or what you want to, achieve in your life, or what you want to create.
What's your thought as far as a person that you're working on their self-development alongside with you, or alongside what you're doing with them, and them linking up with somebody who doesn't do self-development?
So I don't think it's that important. My boyfriend personally, I love him. He doesn't do personal development, right?
Okay.
He's like, he's on board with whatever I share, like a podcast he'll listen to and stuff like that. But it's not a huge priority for him. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to have people in your relationship to have independent interests, right? It's not to say that that person should be pulling you down. Definitely not at all. Or they should be negative about your own personal growth. Of course, they should be supportive and gung-ho for it. They might not be as invested into it as you are, but I think that's okay. And like making sure that you're focusing on yourself first and attracting in those people that they might not understand it or it be a priority just yet, but they do support you. I think that's huge.
The support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And probably when you're going over what do you want, that would be a question like, do you want somebody who is also on a similar path than you, or do you not care?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I made that list a while ago now with my boyfriend. It's funny because I would say checks off about 92% maybe. But one of those things I did write down is they're working on their personal growth. They're working on that. So that's something that I think if it's, the last 10 or 15% that might not align with that list, that's something you're probably going to grow into. And it might take a couple months, it might take years, whatever it may be. But I think just not restricting yourself because that person doesn't meet literally every single thing is okay, right? Everyone's going to have their own journey or perception of it.
Definitely. Do you prioritize the list?
I personally do not. No,
Like, what if, like, can't have hair on their back?
So
Priority.
Yeah, right. If that's really going to irritate you, then yeah, definitely write it down for sure.
It's not one of mine. That's just what came to mind. I've done both.
Like I've definitely like on my list, I definitely wrote down, he's taller than me. He has a beard. I love beards. But it was mostly things like he's generous to people he knows and strangers alike, right? And like things like that. It was mostly how I wanted to be feeling in it. Yeah, not as much the physical qualities, but those are important because you have to, of course, be attracted to someone.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely. You don't want to be grossed out by them.
Right. Right.
For sure.
Of course.
What's the number one lesson you've learned from life?
Oh. So this is something that it's very simple, but when I was doing all those interviews across the country, people had gone through horrible, horrible things, right? As everyone does, right? Very stressful things, really trying times. And they were okay, right? Like they took the steps. And I think it's just like whatever you're going through, it might not be ideal now, but you're going to be okay. You can change it. You can shift out of it. And I'm getting chills in my body now because I heard all these incredible stories, as I know you do as well. Yeah. And it's just, you're going to be okay. You have the power to shift how your life is right now. And it probably won't be overnight. It could be, but you have the power to do so. And I've seen that in my own life, but also in other people's lives so many times where it's very inspiring and it's very powerful. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about going around the country with like a romance theme?
I would personally love to do that again. Yeah. Because the first one was in 2019. And then obviously a couple years were weird. Where it wasn't really the prime time to do it, but I would love to do that because a lot of people I interviewed were in relationships, right? And so they were able to spark light or like kind of like, share information on how they created that, but it wasn't solely focused on like, what exactly did you do here? What did you go through? So I would love to do that.
That would be fun. Wait, what would that look like? Would that be like interviewing actual couples that have been married for like 35 years?
I think it would be cool it would be great to have those couples on, but I think it would also be interesting to have people that, maybe it's a couple years, maybe it's a couple months, right? Maybe it's someone who even just got out of a breakup, but is okay, right? Is like excited for the future to kind of what I strive to do is interview a variety of different people. So like they might not be able to relate to me, but they can relate to someone there, right?
Yeah.
As I know you obviously do this too.
Yeah.
But they can resonate. So I think it would be cool to have variety, but I don't know. I have to think more on that. If you have any ideas.
I think that would be so fun.
Yeah.
You could even come up with like a really cool name for it that's like, sassy almost.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Or even just accompany people on dates.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And then like the do's and don'ts, like where they messed up and then like where they could have done better.
Yeah. Create some type of like reality show on it.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Wow. That would be really cool.